We have Capture the Cone, Tag Only Edition. This is a great game. You can play indoors or outdoors. It's a game that is, we have it marked out on a field with some painted lines, usually cones in the corner just to kind of give it more of a visual, with a middle line that divides the two teams. This is the territory for Team A. This is a territory for Team B. On each side, there are 6 hoops. In those hoops, we'll have 3 cones. The objective is for each team wants to try to get all 6 cones on their side. Once they have successfully crossed over to the other side and captured the other cones and brought them back to their side, then the game would be done. That round would be over, and you'd put the cones back. I encourage them to, just discuss what worked, what didn't work. Maybe switch up positions. You can have attackers, you can have defenders, you can have guarders, like cone guarders. I always like to say that keep it within limits. 2 guarders per cone is usually a pretty safe number. And then also, when you're putting these cones in, the cones do need to go in the hoops. You cannot have 2 cones per hoop. Then it just makes it easier for the guarders to guard more cones, and so spreading those out makes it a little more enjoyable and a little more fair. Now, if a runner does successfully come across to this side, they don't have to get the cone. They can make it all the way to the safe zone, and the safe zone is beyond this last line. If they can make it there, then they're safe. And it's nice to make it there because they can take a little break, grab a little breather. And then they also just have a different strategy. They can attack from the back side, or another player can come from the front side. So it just helps to make their strategy more dynamic. It's a great game. It's a very cardiovascular game, and then the students really enjoy it. One other thing about the boundaries is if let's just say a team member from this side comes over to the right side and captures the cone and is going back and is trying to make it safe, but they go out of bounds. Okay, if they go out of bounds, then they have to give them back their cone. And then there's no jail in this game. Some capture the cone games have jails. They just go back to their side. And so whenever you get tagged, you just go back to your side. Now, I usually play that the player must be escorted back to their side by whoever the tagger was. So if this arrow is a player on the left side and they come over to the right and someone tags them, then they need to escort them back to the left. That just makes it certain that player goes back. I've played it where if the tagger does not escort them back, then they have about 2 seconds to do that, and if they don't, they decide to leave them and go for someone else, then that person is free to go. They don't have to actually go back to the line. So that's a great game. Switch up positions, switch sides sometimes, mix it up a little bit. It's called Capture the Cone.